this notion that you're from the coast, you don't understand those things. You can't talk the language. You're not able to communicate. And you're not able to actually encourage and find that common ground.
No, it's stuff like there's a new law in this. I think we have way too many regulations and laws, as we've talked about. And this one, I think, says if you're a department store with over 500 employees, you have to have a gender-neutral toy department.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah, I get it.
So do you think that's silly? Do you think that's a silly thing that we're too much government?
Bill Maher caught everyone off guard during a live TV exchange with California Governor Gavin Newsom, taking a strong stance against progressive policies in a tense and revealing debate. What began as a standard political conversation quickly turned confrontational as Maher challenged Newsom directly on key issues, refusing to accept vague responses or dodge the tough questions. As the back and forth escalated, the tension in the room was undeniable. Maher called out inconsistencies and pushed for real answers, leaving the audience visibly stunned. There were gasps, long pauses, and moments of disbelief as Maher confronted widely accepted narratives head-on. This moment is making waves across the political landscape, proving that even in traditionally left-leaning spaces, tough questions can no longer be ignored. Maher's fearless approach exposed deep divides within the progressive movement and highlighted the difficulty of defending certain policies under direct and critical examination. Governor Newsom struggled to stay on message as Maher poked holes in the logic of several positions, revealing the limitations of sticking strictly to ideological scripts when challenged by real-world concerns. This fiery debate is being seen as a turning point, reminding viewers that no public figure is beyond question, and that accountability transcends political affiliation. Watch the full exchange to see why Bill Maher's confrontation with Gavin Newsom is sparking serious conversations from all sides.
No, I know. But he said, I don't think he could win. I don't think he could win. He's too progressive coming from this state and what he's done in this state to win in any southern state, any red state. I disagreed, but no, this is a progressive African-American-owned station, and I'm sure they like you, but he doesn't think you can win. What do you say to that if you could win look at the swing states. There's only 8 of them.
Right. Well, I mean, California is an interesting case study, isn't it? It's the size of 21 state populations combined.
Yeah.
2/3 of the state is very deeply red. We don't need to be lectured on rural politics or border issues. I mean, in so many ways, these are familiar issues, and the issues of the heartland of the United States are very much a part and parcel of the work we're doing.
It's remarkable that we've reached a point where Bill Maher is the one challenging someone like Gavin Newsom so directly and asking the kinds of questions that rarely get raised on mainstream platforms. In most appearances, Newsom doesn't face this level of scrutiny. If he were on a show like The View, for instance, it's unlikely the hosts would push back this hard or press him with uncomfortable truths the way Maher just did. Now we're seeing Newsom do what he's known for, the classic political playbook. Objectively, he's one of the most skilled politicians when it comes to navigating tough interviews. He knows how to sidestep, deflect, and reframe questions that might cast him in a negative light. And this is one of those moments. He'll try to spin the situation, avoid giving direct answers, and reshape the conversation to steer away from accountability. But Maher didn't let him off easy. By forcing the discussion into real-world consequences and inconvenient truths, Maher put Newsom, and by extension, the broader political left, into a position where avoiding the issue only makes things more obvious. This exchange exposes just how rare true pushback is in today's media environment.
And stores came to us supporting that, and they were the ones making a case for that. They were making a case they're already moving in that direction.
Wanted you to make a law about them?
Well, but they supported the legislation. It wasn't legislation that was enacted, that was initiated from my office, but it was legislation that came up with interesting support from the industry itself. But I understand how that's exploited, and good people can disagree. But that's not something we woke up and said, this is a top priority for the state, when we know the top priorities are homelessness, housing, the issues of crime, quality of life, and issues related to regulation and taxes, which are all top of mind. But I get how those things are weaponized.
All right. So, one, I got you here, because I live here and I'm not going anywhere. So I just want to make this a better state like everybody else.
Amen.
And good job this year making it rain.
You're welcome. That was my legislative priority.
It was looking bad there for a while, and we still don't have enough water.
One thing you really have to notice is just how awkward and eerily quiet it got when Bill Maher started pressing Gavin Newsom with real questions. The silence in the room was almost tangible. You could feel the discomfort as Maher pushed back. It was one of those moments where everyone knew something real was happening. Then Newsom finally responded, if you can even call it that. Let me know in the comments if you understood what he was trying to say, because to me, it sounded like pure word salad. He didn't really answer the question at all. And while dodging tough questions is part of the political game, this wasn't just deflection, it was a complete sidestep. What's even more unbelievable is that after all that, the crowd still gave him a full round of applause for a response that didn't actually say anything. That moment alone shows how deep the ideological bias can go, even in spaces that are supposed to be open to honest dialogue. But credit where credit is due, respect to Bill Maher for standing firm, challenging his own audience and asking the questions that most want, even when it goes against the grain. That takes guts, and it's exactly the kind of pushback we need more of.
Of the water goes to agriculture. Almonds.
Right.
No one ever asked you about almonds? Oh, I'm going to ask you about almonds. We grow a boatload of
I'm
almonds
well
here.
aware.
You know how much water it takes?
Many gallons.
1,900 gallons to grow a pound of almonds. Yeah. Come on, man. Take on big almond.
Take on big almonds.
I mean, it's not like we don't have the water.
No.
But
You're right about it. It's not that we don't have the water. That said, the last couple of years were tough. I mean, but it's also where the water's falling and we're not capturing it. And we're not capturing in those extreme years with these atmospheric rivers. Wets are getting a lot wetter, dry's drier, hot's getting a lot hotter. And so we've got to modernize our conveyance system. We've got to modernize our storage, not just above ground, but below ground. And so that's a big part of our focus and frame, including desalinization plants. We have 20 projects just on desal that we're working on today. So we put out a detailed water strategy that includes, by the way, getting that Delta conveyance project back up and operational, and includes the first above ground off stream storage facility in half a century in the state, which, by the way, is being aided by a regulatory package I pushed forward to reduce red tape in the state of California and address the permitting quagmires that you rightfully pointed out.
That was a whole lot of words, without saying much of anything. But I've got to give credit where it's due. Bill Maher actually hit Gavin Newsom with a real question, and that alone was refreshing to see. Maher brought up California's ongoing water crisis, an issue that impacts millions of people in the state. And what did Newsom do? He immediately defaulted to the usual talking point, global warming. Maher even made a half-joking yet serious observation. Why not grow almonds somewhere else like Maine? It's a fair point. Why is such a massive portion of California's already limited water supply being used to grow almonds instead of being managed more strategically? But Newsom didn't engage with that. He dodged the substance of the question and leaned right back into the same familiar scripted rhetoric we've heard 100 times before. It's predictable. No matter what the issue is, whether it's water, housing, energy, or agriculture, politicians like Newsom always manage to steer the conversation back to broad climate change narratives without addressing the specific concern that was actually raised. Thanks so much for watching and for being part of this discussion. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Your support helps us keep these conversations honest and unfiltered. We appreciate you.